Looks like we're live. I'm continuing on with the drafted Reds team I've got. It's the first year player draft today. I'm trying to see draft expenses. Alright. I've got money to play around with. Okay. I don't know if it's assuming. Okay, this is oh it's got a projected 8 million. All right, I'm in the first year player draft. I think I found the player I want. I'm most likely going to go with a starter. I probably need to make sure I check through everybody first. But this lefty here looks really good. 6 above average pitches, or well, potential for 6 above average pitches. This changeup very well might not go anywhere, but he's got so many other pitches that really doesn't matter that much. Good stamina, knows how to hold runners. Movement, control, and stuff are all above average. He's got a durable injury history. The only problem is he wants quite a bit of money, and he is hard to sign, but that's quite a bit better than impossible. And you know, did I mention he's a lefty? But I'm going to check out these other guys real quick just to make certain that I'm making the right choice. Juan Vega here looks good, but nowhere near as good as the lefty. His bonus demand is much smaller. His potential movement's not as good. His potential control's not as good. This guy profiles more as a... he does have 3 above average pitches, but he looks much more like a reliever to me. You could put him in and try to start him, and you know, he may do very well, but he looks like an elite closer. Although he doesn't have the velocity, but with these off the charts, if he develops these into off the charts pitches, that's not going to matter so much. But I'm going to do due diligence. I'm going to check and see all the different positions, see if there's somebody else out there I might want to pick first. I think the scouting director wants me to take, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name, but he has a fragile injury history, and I'm not going to spend a big, give a big bonus to somebody with a fragile injury history. I just won't do it. I mean, if he's still available later on, I might take him. Much later in the draft. Unfortunately, if a player has a fragile injury history, they just, the more injuries they take, the worse that gets. They'll hit rec status very early. Looks like there are a couple good second basemen. Yeah, I think I looked at this guy yesterday. If you're not going to have home run power, I'd like for you to have an above average eye. Speed would be nice too, especially at second base. You could move him to third, but he has no arm. Can play first, but he has no power. So, you know, he could be a really good hitter. His contact's not as good as, say, a Jose Altuve. I don't think his eye is as good either. So, you know, he's kind of like Jose Altuve light. Has no speed. So, you know, you could draft this guy, but he's not going to be as good as an Altuve. This guy has a little bit more interesting tools. I like when they have a good eye, but this guy's got some home run power. He's got some speed, a little bit above average speed. His defense is weak. That's something you could develop, but he's never going to be anything better than an average second baseman. And he hit 500, but his competition level is just average. Scouting report says he's a solid citizen. He's got a durable injury history, though. Or, yeah, normal injury history. I could look at some of these. Yeah, I don't like the way that looks at all. OSA has a very negative opinion of him. This guy looks a little bit more interesting. Although OSA... Generally, if I'm going to pick a first-round pick, I want OSA and the head scout to agree that they are a can't-miss prospect. I'm not going to... You know, I might pick this guy a little later, try to sneak him in. But, I'm not going to pick him first round. Third base is kind of weak this year. This guy looks interesting. Good above average abilities in all areas. Good outfield range. He'll be an above average outfielder. Just wants slot bonus, normal injury proneness. This guy would be a good pick. If that pitcher wasn't available. Now let's see what OSA says about him. I might pick. Well, no. OSA likes him too. He's probably not going to be available when I pick next round. Joe Parks. Check center field real quick. Good solid player. Play defense a lot of positions. Very good defensive outfielder. A little bit above average speed. Solid citizen in the clubhouse. Normal injury history. Easy for us to sign. This guy wouldn't be a bad pick either. I just really like that pitcher. I can't see. Let's see. We'll look at all pitchers real quick. I can't see taking anybody but that lefty. Both OSA and the head scout agree that he's going to be a can't-miss prospect. And they really don't vary much in their assessment of his pitches. The only negative about this guy is he wants a lot of money. I've got the money. I'll probably pay it. I'm going to go ahead and draft this guy. We'll negotiate with him later. All right. Let's check out all players. Let's see who the best player on the board is. This is the second baseman from earlier, who's not as good as Altuve. I mean, I just wish he had more speed as a second baseman. He's had good results at a great competition level. Scouting report says he's a hard worker. I hate this speed. I might check and see if there's somebody else that's a little bit better available. Another starting pitcher. This guy's a reliever. He's got a change-up that's never going anywhere. If he was left-handed, it might be worth it to take a flyer on him. And, you know, if he turns out to be a reliever, no big deal. You know, this guy might be the guy to take. He's going to be a good hitter. Even, you know, just a little bit below average home run power. That's good. He knows how to make contact. It's just with this type of player that doesn't have the home run power, I like to see speed. Second base is probably his only position on the infield other than first. Let's see, what can he do in the outfield? He's got a really terrible arm. Outfield, he'd be average at best. OSA likes this guy a little better. They like his changeup even less, though. They're more likely to say he's going to be a relief pitcher. I'd hate to take a relief pitcher this high in the draft. Oh, okay. I got to be careful about what scouting I'm looking at here. Humberto Alfaro. A lefty center fielder here. He's decent. He's got very good speed. Doesn't have much of an arm, so he's basically left in center field. Likes to be the center of attention. That doesn't sound good. Likes to be the center of attention, and OSA doesn't think much of him at all. So I might dig into the draft a little bit more here. Let's see. Let's look at batting potential. Jeff Bunch, no home run power whatsoever. Same speed as Kohler. It would be better to take Kohler here. There's Kohler. Kohler might be the guy I pick. I hate to see that lack of speed. Garger looks like a nice, solid player. He's going to be an above-average defender in the outfield. Good speed. His base running is not particularly good. Durable injury history. And played well at average competition level. That doesn't really tell you much. Requires effective guidance. Alright, this guy could be a problem. But I might go ahead and shortlist him. Put him on the draft shortlist so I can bring him back up. Let's see what the scouting... Yeah, I guess I should check and see what the scouting director wants. Yeah, he wants me to pick this guy that's basically a relief pitcher, and I don't think I'm going to do that. Doug Vineyard, no home run power, above average speed, slightly above average defensively. Sounds like a solid citizen. And he's just hard to sign. Andy Dennis is this guy. He's a switch hitter. Basically a DH. It looks like he's going to be a hell of a DH, although he does not have an eye. He murdered average competition. Doesn't stand out. Doesn't sound like he'll be a problem. Jonathan Oliver. I like this guy. He's got a little bit better speed. He's kind of... You can turn the double play. Durable, good competition level, played well at the good competition level. I think Garger was the only other one. I keep, you know, hemming and hawing on Collar. Collar's probably the guy I'm going to pick. I just don't like that lack of speed. I really do not like that lack of speed. Let's check out the guy with the best power potential. OSA says very low contact. He's going to be an average third baseman, probably. A little bit above average speed. Looks like he'll be a solid citizen. Let's see who's got a good eye. Not a whole lot of above average, way above average eyes. I think this is the guy. Yeah, no. Oh, okay. OSA likes him. My head scout does not. I gotta make sure I'm looking at the right scouting here. Most of the people with good eyes, Buckley doesn't seem to think very favorably about. Here's a shortstop. Relatively solid, above average speed. Probably a slightly above average defender when it's all said and done. I don't know what this means. It might mean he's outspoken, which could cause problems. He is a left-handed hitter. He can play shortstop. Actually play all over the infield. Might be able to even get him playing first, although he doesn't have any power. Well, a little bit of below average power. See what the OSA has to say about him. I guess they really don't like that below average contact because pretty much everything else. Well, this is not a guy I would draft right now either, but he is somebody I would consider. Make sure I'm checking Buckley's. Alright, I already got Jonathan Oliver. Now, who's got some sick defense? Let's see, all batters. Jamari Dunn. This guy is pretty much glove only. Anybody that can't avoid the strikeout and has no power, I don't really want him on my team. I mean, even the guys with power, I don't really like the idea of having them on my team if they can't avoid a strikeout. But if they don't have home run power, I really don't see the benefit. I mean, this guy could win a Gold Glove. His arm's a little bit weak for shortstop, as far as I'm concerned. Sounds like he's a slacker, which will cause problems in the clubhouse. Above average speed. Make sure I'm looking at Buckley. Kohler's probably the guy I'll draft. Silva looks pretty good. No home run power. He's going to be above average defender, and in the outfield has good speed. Oh, this might be. He's got poor competition level, and he played well, but this is a guy I would consider later, though. Leads by example on the field. Sounds like a leader. That could be valuable. He's a right fielder right now. Has a good enough arm for it. Generally, you want power in right field. I really like this. I mean, he can't hit it up the gap. And he's got an above average eye. Potential for an above average eye. Contact's a little low. Plays defense, has speed. I'll definitely add him to my short list. Let's see. We'll come back to him. Competition level average, and he didn't hit particularly well. I've got quite a few catchers in my system right now, although I suppose you always need to draft a few of them. It's not surprising he doesn't have much speed. Looks like a solid hitter. all around. Doesn't have much catcher ability though, and his arm is terrible. This might be a kind of weak draft. At least as far as the things I would look for. I mean, a couple of second basemen with way above average contact potential, but terrible speed. Alright, I'm going to look at pitchers. See if there's anybody... make sure I'm looking at Buckley scouting. It says Kohler's a pitcher. Let's look at his ratings. He could be a two-way player. No. He doesn't have the control to pitch. He does have some good pitches. He just doesn't have the control. Alright, so that's not going to happen. That's something you can look for. Like, every now and then you'll find a diamond in the rough. They might be a pitcher, but they'll have, they'll be able to hit. And you could decide to draft them as a, draft them and change their position. I could take Kohler. I don't really like him, I gotta admit. The lack of speed really bothers me. I might go ahead and take a pitcher, another starting pitcher that's got some decent pitches. Let's see. Individual pitch ratings. Well, individual pitch potential. We'll look at that. Alright, here's a Brad Harris. Make sure we're looking at Buckley's. It's interesting. Oh, he has no control and below average movement. Might be interesting to take a flyer on that guy, just to see if he can work it out. But that would be much later in the draft. Actually, I might add him to the short list. Another guy that lacks control, but we'll add him to the short list. He's got good velocity, good stamina. It might be a little early to take this guy, but he does look like OSA likes him even more. Cuts corners during workouts, that doesn't sound good. Mike Hope, 4 above average pitches, 96 to 98 velocity. OSA has him about the same level. His signability is normal. Competition level great. He pitched pretty well. Cool, slow, and methodical. That sounds good. Doesn't have much control now. Has ability or potential for above average control. 4 above average pitches. This guy looks like a solid middle or back of the rotation pitcher, depending on how he develops. Normal injury proneness. This might be the guy to draft. He's not. He's not as good as Kohler. You know, I could always take Kohler and use him as a trade chip, I suppose, down the line. But pitching, you can never have enough pitching. J.C. Kane. This guy looks good. I'll take a flyer on him later, possibly. Sometimes they can develop better control, but in this case, OSA is saying that his control is even worse than the head scout is. So there's not much optimism for him working things out. But he's got really good pitches, and sometimes being a little wild can help. Generally not with a starter, but with a relief pitcher. You know, he's got above average velocity. You know, he's probably got some good strikeout pitches here. He could be a relief pitcher, but I wouldn't want to draft him here either. Check Chad Horton here. Yeah, he's somebody to check out much later. Afiata. You know, he didn't pitch badly and he had a great competition level. It's hard to say. I'm going to go ahead and shortlist him. We'll come back to him later. Pitching usually goes. I mean, even these guys that I'm kind of turning my nose up at, they'll get drafted. And I think I just shifted my scouting again. So now I don't know where the hell I was. Alright, Andy Case. He's easy to sign. PJ Glenn, that's interesting. He's got a potential for a 60 fastball. His velocity at the moment, he is only 19. Sounds like a solid citizen. He's not somebody I want to draft right now, though. Alright. Let me see if anybody's got a knuckleball. Josh Flanagan here. Oh, that is brutal. OSA likes him a lot better. These knuckleball pitchers, they could surprise you. If he's available later on, I might go ahead and pick him. I'm going to add him to my short list. Knuckleball pitchers, they can surprise you. And he's got potential for a good one. Few people have knuckle curves. Alright. I could look at batting ratings right now. See who's the most ready at this point. Buckley, is it? No. You gotta be really careful about which scouting you're using when you do this. It will switch on you. This guy, you know, he'd be nice if we were an American League team. I might consider drafting him. I prefer players that have a good eye, but he can avoid Ks a little bit. I mean, he's gonna have to develop a ton. His home run power, they say it's out at 70, the potential, but right now it's really low. If he's available later, I might go ahead and take him. And it looks like he might be. You know, this might be my scout finding a diamond in the rough in the draft. Because OSA doesn't think much of him at all. Alright, we'll look at pitchers. Make sure we're looking at Chris Buckley. A little bit below average changeup here. Probably won't be a starter. I really don't want to draft somebody that's not going to be a starter. Gene Shaver, another guy with a weak changeup. And I mean, if I'm going to draft a starter, I generally want their control potential to be 60 and up. But looks like I might go with this Mike Hope guy. OSA says he'll be better. He's a solid citizen. He might be available later though. I might go ahead and take Kohler. I hate to take him though, simply because this is a glaring weakness for a guy that can only play second base. He might surprise me. He might be an awesome hitter. I could always use him as a trade chip later. But I hate to draft somebody this high with the intent on trading him later. I just don't want to do that. But he looks like he's the best overall player available. Lots of relief pitchers and the starters. Well, what I would see as a relief pitcher. Pat Drury here. I must have missed him. OSA has a little bit better. Average competition level, but he pitched really lights out. Can shut out the stress and put it on automatic. Well, this might be my guy. Above average stuff. Above average pitches, slider, changeup. Oh, that's why he didn't show up. He doesn't have a fastball. This is kind of a rare bird here. A pitcher without a fastball, but he throws a cutter. I guess that's something I need to sort for in the future. Maybe I'll go ahead and look at that right now. But we'll put Drury on the short list. Another guy without a fastball. Weak changeup. Another weak changeup. Yeah, lots of relief pitchers up here. This guy could be alright. OSA has a lower opinion of him than Buckley does. Solid teammate. That's telling you straight up he's a solid citizen. Average competition level, but he pitched really well. Alright, it's up against Kohler and Drury, I think. Drury's a ground ball pitcher, which is nice. Can hold runners. He's going to take a lot more developing. So, a lot of things can go wrong between now and the time he hits the majors. It's more of a crapshoot with these high school players. OSA likes him more than my scout does. I might go ahead and pick this guy. His velocity isn't as good as I'd want, but he is a ground ball pitcher, and he's got a little bit above average movement. This is the OSA's assessment of him. My scout doesn't like him quite as much, but actually I'm going to click on Jim Fishman. We'll compare Drury to Fishman. Alright. Fishman has better stuff potential. About the same stamina. Drury's already a little bit better developed with his stuff. The big problem being with Fishman being his weak changeup. If you don't have at least 3 average to above average pitches, you're probably not going to make it as a starter in the major leagues. So even though overall it's telling me that Fishman's a better player, he'll be a better player as a relief pitcher. He's a relief pitcher. I can almost guarantee you when he makes it to the majors, it'll be as a relief pitcher. And there's nothing wrong with drafting a good relief pitcher. It's just that you don't want to do that this early in the draft. They're going to be available later. So I'm going to go with Drury over Fishman. I am going to pick a pitcher here. I'm not going to pick Kohler. I mean, he's going to be a good player. He's going to be a good hitter. But like I said, he's sort of like Altuve light. If he had Altuve's speed, he'd be a no-brainer pick. But he doesn't. He's got below average speed. That's a big negative for a player that doesn't have above average home run power. He looks like he'll be a solid second baseman though. And who knows, he might be available in the 3rd round. We'll see. If he is available in the 3rd round, I'm going to pick him. And he's there. He is still there. Nobody picked him. They might be seeing the same limitations I'm seeing. That might be why they're avoiding him. Let's Let's see. I wonder. Fishman's still available. He's going to be a whale of a relief pitcher down the line. I don't know that I still probably wouldn't want to pick him this early as a relief pitcher. Another weak changeup. Another good relief pitcher. I mean, this guy could hit better than 300, good gap power. And I could maybe even move him to first. He's a good, solid player. He's already got 50 contact, so he's got a good, solid floor. See what the scouting director says. They want me to take another picture here. Well above average control. I've already taken 2 pictures. A lefty with a weak changeup. This guy sounds like a solid citizen. I keep going back to Kohler here, though. Even though he's got the weaknesses I keep going back to, I think I'm going to go ahead and take him. Alright, let's see what the scouting director says. Vineyard. Actually, he's got above average speed, good contact, no home run power. This actually might be a good solid pick. He's probably more of a second baseman than a shortstop. Another lefty here. Let's see what other shortstops are available. Good competition level. He's probably closer to being Major League ready. We'll compare Mortensen to Vineyard here. Alright, Vineyard. Mortensen has much better base running instincts. He bats left. Let's see. Let's check defensive ratings. Overall, Mortensen looks to be a little bit better. He's got better defensively in the outfield. He's more developed at more positions. Batting rate, yeah. This contact potential, that's kind of a big deal. They're both developed at about the same level right now. I'd be picking a better player right now if I took Mortensen. A better floor. He's a lefty hitter. Vineyard could be something a little bit more special, though. Mortensen's probably outspoken. That is a negative. Let's see what the OSA says about him. They're not as high on him. Vineyard, the OSA seems to like more. So Vineyard's more likely to be picked sooner. Let's see what's available in center field. There's Garger, good solid player, above average defense. OSA seems to like him. Requires effective guidance, which is unfortunate. Like a Kevin Harvey, kind of solid. Good speed though. Going to be a little bit above average defensively. Doesn't have a good arm. Likes to be the center of attention, which is negative. Let's see. Is Garger? Yeah. Both of them like Garger. I might go ahead and take Garger, and then instead of taking Vineyard, I'll take Mortensen. So I'm going to take Garger now. Then I'll take somebody will probably take Vineyard, and I'll wind up taking Mortensen with my pick for shortstop. Oh, looks like somebody got Mortensen. Oh no, here's Mortensen. All right. See what the scouting director recommends. Here's another center fielder. Looks like a solid player, good defender. Quietly goes about his business. This wouldn't be a bad pick. Let's check the pitchers, though. Looks like most of the players I'd shortlisted have been taken. Go through all players. Yep. Kopech, he looks like he could develop into a decent pitcher. Buckley likes him a lot better than the OSA does. Has a durable injury history. Kopech might be the guy. Aldana is a solid outfielder. Shaver has this weak changeup. Just wants to play baseball and not be bothered. Doesn't have a lot of velocity. He does throw left-handed, though. OSA has very low opinion of him. Generally, when you swap these guys and make them relief pitchers, their stuff improves. So he's probably going to have better stuff than advertised. I might take this guy a little later. Has the mental skills to effectively handle big game pressure. Telling you he could be a closer. The lack of movement kind of bothers me there. Kopech, he's got a lot of time to develop. He could either bust or he could, I could also try to take him a little later. That doesn't look very encouraging. Alright, I'm going to switch my scouting over to OTP. Ernesto Camacho. Boy's got a bunch of speed. Good outfielder. Easy to sign. Can play defense everywhere. Scout doesn't think he'll ever hit. And I might take a flyer on the guy if the scout had a little bit higher opinion of his ability to make contact. That 35 contact, that's a little scary. Okay. So at this point, I sometimes take a flyer on a player. If the OSA thinks that he's something special. My head scout doesn't. I might go ahead and draft him just to see how he'll turn out. Solid teammate. This might be a guy to take a little later. Joe Brooks. Oh, wow. I think it was Kapika I was leaning towards taking. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Kapika. If I'm going to take a flyer on somebody, I think I'll do it a little later. Although OSA does not think very highly of him. See what the scouting director recommends. He could be something, you know, it's not giving him much potential, but he's got 4 average to above average pitches, average to above average ratings here. He's durable, although he's impossible to sign. I don't know why my scouting director would try to get me to draft somebody that's impossible to sign at this point. Well, this guy went to Ohio State. You like drafting a local guy. I'm awful pitching heavy, but a lot of the position players I've had the opportunity to draft are not particularly enticing. Another guy with good contact but no home run power. He's going to be an average fielder. He could be worth taking, possible to sign. Let's see if there's anybody with power out there. Gilberto Morales. Actually, that looks pretty good to me. Extremely hard to sign. He's basically a he's a DH. Oh, here's one of those guys I was talking about. You could draft him in one position and then switch him over to another. His potential looks pretty good. Very good power potential. Good eye. He looks this guy could play easily play first base, and he's better than I'd actually prefer him over Morales. He's a switch hitter. Let's compare them. Batting ratings. Morales does not have the contact potential, slightly more home run potential, worse eye potential. Schmidt has better running speed. What about defensively? Oh, wow. Schmidt's blowing him away. I just have to remember to switch his position. And Schmidt can pitch if they, if he doesn't work out. Let's see. If he doesn't work out as a first baseman, he can pitch. All right. Actually, though, and I'm gonna create a new short list so I can remember to do this after the draft. I'm gonna draft Schmidt and change his position to well, I might change him to first base. I'll figure out where I'm gonna put him after the draft. Could take Schmidt later, being a starter. All right. Defensive ratings. Schmidt's just better. I do need some power. I want to draft a player with power. We'll compare him to Phil Franz as well. Franz is more developed right now. Schmidt compares favorably to all these guys that are out there for first base. He can play the outfield if he needs to. He's much better in the infield. Phil Schneider. He really just needs to be developed. I could take him maybe next round. He's got slightly below average speed, a little bit above average base running instincts. He'd make a really good right fielder. This guy's Schneider's underrated as well. I might take Schneider next round. At this point, you can find a few gems in the draft. Of course, OSA probably doesn't think anything of this guy. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and take Schmidt. Phil Schneider. And I'll probably take Phil Schneider next. Next round. Let's see what the scouting. Aldana's solid, but he was available last round. Maybe he'll be available the round after this. Yeah, Chris Buckley. We'll draft some more power. Danny Brown, center fielder. Nah, I don't like the avoid Ks. Schneider not available now. Oh no, there he is. Oh, he's impossible to sign. Shoot, I guess I should have paid more attention to that. I'd probably have to throw a few million at him to sign him. Well, shoot. Morales. That lack of eye bothers me. Has a very good infield arm. Maybe play outfield instead. Doesn't have much range in the outfield. Does have a very good outfield arm. Could play right field. Let's see what pitchers are available. Eric Robbins. This guy could be a closer. I might go ahead and pick him now. Shaver. Oh, this is the guy I liked earlier. OSA doesn't think much of him. McGriggs. He's a relief pitcher. Generally, if I'm going to pick a relief pitcher, I like him to have very good stuff. This guy probably won't develop into anything but a borderline starter. Kunta McHale. Laxon Edge. Ty Hutchins. Fragile. Durable. OSA really likes him. Changeup isn't going anywhere. This guy will be a relief pitcher, but he'll be a left-handed relief pitcher. Lack of velocity bothers me a little bit. Alright, we'll go ahead and take Robbins. We'll make him a closer. I'll actually add him to position change. Let's see what the scouting director. I'd rather take Shaver. Oh, impossible to sign. Let's see. Remove from all short lists. Alright. We'll look for batting potential. Let's check out OTPs. Most of the power's gone. Make sure I'm looking at Buckley. Alright. Jonathan Brown. Actually, this looks like a solid guy. If he develops. Hey, Shane. I guess it's Swiger. I think that's how you pronounce it. I know I butcher quite a few pronunciations here. This guy doesn't look bad. He's going to be a relief pitcher, though. Yeah. We're starting to run short of talent here, though. So, I think when I drafted at the beginning of the season, I think the players that would have been in this draft were available to pick. That's how I got Jeter Downs. I picked Jeter Downs. So I think everybody in this draft is probably made up. They're probably generated. Maybe I can snag somebody that's got good defense. Oh yeah, we're pretty deep into the draft at this point. Oh, let's see. Caleb Dufour, not a very good eye. Phil Henderson, lefty pitcher, extreme ground ball pitcher. Looks to be a good pitcher. Here's the guy I drafted. Six above average pitches. Big negative is he wants a lot of money. Aldana seems to be a solid player. He told me to draft him earlier. Let's see what he at. Yeah, he wants me to take Aldana. He's probably right. Good solid player that can play the outfield. See what the scouting director... Man. Scraping the bottom of the barrel here. I usually don't like to take players that have low home run power and low speed. Oh, he's impossible to sign anyway. Phil Franz. Lefty hitter, he'll never play defense. haven't drafted a catcher yet, but I got a bunch of catchers in my system. It was overall a weak draft for catchers. Yeah, I actually took a guy earlier. Let's see. Here he is. I kept going back and forth on it. He doesn't have much home run power, has low speed, and basically all I can do is play second or first because he doesn't have a very good arm. He's got a durable injury history. He's already got 50 contact, so his floor's good. And he played at Vanderbilt, so his competition level was good and he played well. So yeah, I could do that. Oh yeah, he'll get on base. But there is a little bit of truth to clogging up the bases. If someone's real slow, you know, even if you got extra base hitters behind them, they might not be able to score. But yeah, we're getting down to the point where there's not a whole lot of good talent left. This guy lacks home run power, but he can catch. Oh, he's impossible to sign. I don't like these players that can't avoid Ks either. This guy has some glaring weaknesses. He's never going to be a really good catcher either. He's going to be easy to sign. Ouch. I want to get a good defensive catcher, but this guy can't hit it at all. He works hard. And the thing is, he's 22, so this is probably fairly accurate. I might have to give up on my idea of drafting a catcher here. Well, they even happen with good catchers. I mean, you can't avoid them completely. Well, I might just have to start taking the best player. Oh, really? I would wonder why someone that's a decent hitter in all other aspects of the game would not have gap power. That just seems odd. Extremely hard to sign. Baseball rat. Looks like he'll be an average defender. I thought Barnhart's a pretty good defender. They might not have him rated properly. Mesoraco, he has a... he's got pretty good defensive stats as well. I think I might go ahead and just let him draft now. Yeah, he is expensive, that's for certain. Well, this guy will be a good defender, he just can't hit. I think I'm just going to let him auto-draft for me. This is too frustrating. There's just too many glaring weaknesses on in these people. Let's see. I might draft some potential relief pitchers. This guy's a lefty. He doesn't have very good velocity. Oh, he's fragile. Well, I guess I could still draft him. Man, there's just not much left at this point. I think Swigert was impossible to sign. Most of the players are impossible to sign. I'd have to throw a few million at him to sign him. And that's not going to happen. This guy has the potential to be a reliever. Doesn't have very good velocity. He could be a long guy, I guess. Extremely hard to sign. Let's see what OSA says. OSA seems to think he has some potential. I might take this guy. Murdoch Shiplak. See what Downs has absolutely no control. Alright, we'll draft Shiplak. I hate these guys that can't avoid Ks. Fragile injury history. Looks like he's a decent defender. OSA has a very low opinion of him. He does have a little bit above average speed. Honestly, though, the worst thing about him is he can't avoid the strikeout. He can play defense. Has above average speed. Probably not a bad pick in spite of the injury proneness. At this point, you gotta take some chances, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, he was impossible to sign. All the good players at this point are impossible for me to sign. Extremely hard. See if anybody has any power. Danny Brown. Can't avoid the strikeouts, but he can play defense. Oh, he wants a big bonus. Well, maybe I'll take Brown instead. He's 19. Mike Dineen. It just gets so ugly late in the draft. Impossible to sign. Caleb Dufour was impossible to sign. Dave Hubel, was he impossible? Extremely hard. Honestly, he's a pretty solid hitter. He just can't play defense. And he is a lefty. I might go with Hubel. I saw him before. I wound up taking a pitcher that I'm going to switch positions with, though. But since Hubel's still available, I think I'll go ahead and draft him. Let's see what the scouting director... I really don't see that happening. Chris Little. Extremely hard to sign. Oh yeah, this is the guy I was looking at earlier. Terrible base runner. Average speed. He is a baseball rat, so he's going to work hard at it. We'll go ahead and draft him. He's young. He could develop. This guy doesn't look bad. He can play defense. Where was he earlier? Sometimes it seems like players just jump up out of nowhere. Oh, that guy has a terrible arm. I was looking at catchers earlier, and don't think I saw this guy. Oh, he's impossible to sign. That's why I didn't take him. Alright. Go ahead and take Little. Lupe Zambrano. Kind of average. Oh yeah, he's the guy that has no arm. Dineen. Terrible eye. Good speed. Impossible to sign. I might start taking flyers on some of these guys that are impossible to sign. NIST might be the best thing still available. This guy would be alright to draft if he was a better defensive catcher. Oh, he can play defense. Easy to sign. Sounds like a team player, left-hand batter. We'll go ahead and draft him. Nope. Alright, batting ratings. In-body has no power potential. Much better contact potential. Has more to develop at an older age. Can run a lot. Well, actually they run the same. But he's more developed on the base pass. What about defensively? Better and more developed defensively. Has good infield ratings, but he's left-handed, so the only thing he can do is play first base. You know, I might... I'm comparing these two, but I'll probably take one this round and one the next if they're both available. Guy's named Trout. He's going to be good, right? Mine tends to wander. I've got that problem. Oh, is Danny? No, Danny Sullivan's still on the board. Kind of a weak defender. Catcher was terrible earlier. I'm sure it's not any better now. Where'd this guy come from? Oh no, he's pretty bad. Defense is terrible. Man. This guy can hit a little bit. Maybe not. I think I'm going to skip catchers altogether. If the computer wants to draft them, it can do it after I'm done here. Let's see. Let's check out power potential real quick. Franz can still hit for power. He just can't play defense very well. Easy to sign. Mostly developed. I might go ahead and take him. I'll see. Let's see what's available for pitchers. Catcher. Let's see. Oh, he's 23. Changing his position is probably... I don't know. He throws 95 to 97. I'm going to take a flyer on him. We'll change his position to pitcher. He doesn't look great, doesn't have much potential, but he'll be a filler pitcher to fill out the rotation in the minors. Probably not a bad pick. At this point, though, I think I'm going to go ahead and let the computer auto draft. Actually, I might take this guy. Juan Ortega. Oh, where's he at? Where'd he go? I lost him. He should be, let's see. Well, I can get to his page. Oh, he's impossible to sign. Never mind. Don't worry about it anyway. Alright. Extremely hard. Good velocity. He could be a relief pitcher. Sounds like a solid citizen. I like pitchers with good control. I'll add him to position change. We'll make him a reliever right away. Juan Montero, lefty pitcher. Several below average pitches. Easy to sign. Throws left-handed. He's got a lot of time to develop. I mean, he could develop into a better pitcher. Velocity's low, though. Mitch Sullivan. Oh, that's the OSA. Fragile and easy to sign. OSA really likes him. I could take a flyer on him. Focus can be a problem. Let's see what OSA... Chad Lander. He's another lefty. Oh, wow. Chris Buckley doesn't like his control at all. Dusty Lawless. Durable and easy to sign. OSA thinks he can have a good changeup. Juan Ortega is impossible to sign. I guess I'll take him off the short list. Honestly, I might go ahead and take a flyer on this guy. Why not? They say he's got potential. My scout doesn't like him, but that doesn't mean my scout's right. I might go ahead and take him. Andy Parker's young. Can't avoid the strikeouts. Has no ability to turn a double play. Well, head scout thinks he can play defense. Mine tends to wander, extremely hard to sign. Has above average speed. And he can play shortstop. The complete lack of control as assessed by my scout really scares me, so I'm not going to take that guy. Here's a younger catcher. Really doesn't have any catching ability per se. I suppose I need to take at least one catcher, so I'll go ahead and take Bittner. And then I think I'm going to complete the draft. There's just too much crap to sort through at this point. All right. Alright, I'm not going to fool around. I'm going to sign this guy. He says I have to meet his demand. I'm going to do it. I guess I could try to save a few bucks here. We'll see what he says. Someone that's normal, you could probably negotiate with them a little bit and they're not going to be too offended. someone that's, say, impossible, you only have one chance to sign them generally. I don't mind meeting his demand. His demand is way below slot. So we'll go ahead and sign him. Alright. I'll go ahead and meet his demand. Again, his demand is below slot, so I don't have any issues with meeting it. Negotiation should be very easy. I'll go ahead. I'll see if I can shave a few $1,000 off the offer. I mean, it's kind of penny pitching or whatever, but I might as well do it if I can. I might have even been able to sign him for less. All right. I'm going to go to rosters and transactions. All the people that just got drafted need to be sorted out. This is where things get kind of ugly. You basically, see, I've got 75 players on my lowest level minor league team. So basically what I need to do now is sort through all of those players and basically ditch anyone that I don't think has the potential to do anything. Maybe an older player that's still in a rookie ball. You know, I got to do all that. And I'm sure you probably don't want to watch that. The other thing I can do, I think, let's see, let me go to game settings real quick. Let's see, AI settings maybe. Maybe league settings? There's someplace in here where you can set the minor league AI to cut players. And if you don't do that, you're going to end up with a lot of players down your minor league system. So you either have to go through and sort through them, you know, take a look at their potential. Like I have a deal where if somebody has a contact potential below a certain level, I'll just cut them immediately. So Chris Little here. Oh, that's based on. Look at Chris Buckley. Alright, Alexander Campos here has a contact potential of 35. If they can't hit, you know, can't get it above like 40, 45, I'll probably end up cutting them. unless they're really impressing me someplace else. Let's see, 30 players on the batting side, 45 on the pitching side. So I've got a lot of sorting out to do. And generally, let's see, goodbye Chris Buckley. Oh. Control potential. If control's below a certain level, I'll cut them as well. Oh, here's CJ Schmidt. This is the guy I wanted to change his position. If you look at him, he looks like he could be a very good hitter. And he's got pretty good ability on the infield too. I mean, if I put him at first base, he could be a very good first baseman. He's also decent in the outfield as well. So what I'm going to do here is change his position to first base. And you'll see his potential as a first baseman is much higher than it was as a pitcher. Yeah. So he could be a really good first baseman. And sometimes you just gotta sort through the draft. Look for I was looking at home run power potential when I found this guy. But he's got good contact, average gap power, above average eye. And one of the big things for a home run hitter, he can avoid the strikeout. He's got an average ability to avoid the strikeout. And he looks like he could be a good first baseman. And on top of all that, he's a switch hitter. So if I can develop this guy, that's a major coup. I picked him early. I mean, I might have been able to wait a little bit later to pick him, but I'm glad I did. I didn't know he was going to have this much potential. I thought he might be a 3 or 4 star player, but it's saying he's got 4.5 star potential. And I've got a couple other people. Let's see. Look at my position change short list. Alright, they already have Darisaw as a relief pitcher, Robbins as a relief pitcher. Yeah, this guy could be a good pitcher. He's older though, but I might change him to a relief pitcher. Let's see, set position. Oh, I guess he's better as a catcher than a relief pitcher. Well, I thought I'd take a shot at it. Maybe I'll put him back to catcher. I mean, he's not a terrible catcher. I just thought he'd be a pretty good relief pitcher. But it's something to look for. These guys, they have more potential as a relief pitcher than they do as a starter. I think his stuff's a little better. Make him a starter real quick. Yeah. His stuff improves. His overall potential improves if you make him a relief pitcher. I think Eric Robbins, he improved considerably. Oh, well, seems to think he could be a better starting pitcher. Although, if you look at him, he's only got 2 good pitches, and this changeup is probably never going to develop. You need 3 good pitches to be a starting pitcher in the major leagues. But I'm just going to call it quits after the draft today. I'm going to figure out... I need to look for the setting that sorts out the gives the managers and the minors the ability to cut players. I'm kind of glad I drafted this guy. Switch hitting first baseman with good potential. But I got a lot to sort out, so I'm not gonna let you watch, or I'm not gonna make you watch that. So I'm gonna end the stream for now. Thank you for watching.